I know that Muji has come out recently and said AVT is a guard. Of course he said that, though. Of course he said that. And today he is a guard. I don't know about tomorrow. It depends on how this roster shakes out. But like, would you entertain extending him now if he worked with us and realizes his situation? Or do you think it's a better move to force him to play this final year, see what we have after that?
Yeah. So for me, he's a guard. He just is. He's a much better guard than he's a tackle. I think he has the capability to be a Pro Bowl guard. I think if he's an average tackle, that's probably about what you're getting. I don't think he's anything above average at tackle. So I'm keeping him at his better spot, and I just don't want to screw around with the guy. I'm not going to get to the injury thing because I think it's a little bit bullshit. He got injured at both spots. You can get injured anywhere. It's just luck of the draw where you got injured. But to me, just in general, he's much better at one spot. So keep him at that spot. So in terms of extending him, you're talking about what this is going to be his 5th year, right? He's had quite a few injuries, quite a few season-ending injuries. He obviously had a healthy year last year, but is 1 out of 3 enough to be like, hey, we're going to bank on that? For me personally, no. Like, let him play out. Or no, sorry. He's playing on his 5th year option this year. So he's been in the NFL for 4 years. 3 of those years ended it in injuries or had some type of injuries. 1 of those 4 was healthy. So I'm not willing to bank on that and saying, okay, that's what's going to happen. Now, if he plays this season, all season, and only, if he gets nicked up, miss a couple of snaps, a game or two, fine. But he hasn't been healthy enough for me to bank on him in the future yet. 1 more year of him being healthy, okay, I'm willing to then extend him. But I think it would be a little bit premature now for him. Even with Simpson too, like that's another question people have been asking. He's only on a 2-year contract, and his last year was very good. And I think him with the Ravens, I think he was underrated. I could say that I know that Nania led the carriage with being on the hype train or whatever on Simpson, but I also like Simpson last year. I watched his film, like, oh, I actually like this guy quite a bit, but still, you're talking about a small sample size of him being very good with the Jets, or at least very solid. Are you willing to bet on that in a contract extension? So for both guys, I like to see them play for 1 more year, but you also have to recognize that it's also risky too. That's living more on the risky side, because then what if you lose both of them next year? You could be shit out of luck. So do you kind of hedge your bets and do one? Or do you let both ride in? I think ideal world where you can guarantee this is Madden. Hey, I offer you the highest contract. You come back, then you don't sign them now. But again, it's just a risky game. So ideal world, they have another year, but that's not always what happens.
I had to talk Dane and the fellas down last night on the Simpson stuff, because they're like, lock them up, and I get the value in that, because like same thing with AVT. If you lock them up now, they're decently cheap. But if they both play and they're healthy next year and they have good years,
yep,
then we're probably not going to be able to afford both of them. So I get the thought behind it, but at the same time, it's just like you said with Simpson. We have seen 1 year of this dude in our organization, and we're having another system this year, so we don't even know how he's going to perform in this system this year.
Yep.
So for him, I got to see another year of it. If he gives us another year similar to last, then I'm going to be on Nania's train, dude. I'm going to be pulling the thing. We're going to be doing it. But I think we just got to wait for him. I'm a little more open to the AVT, because I think AVT just has the upside, man. And we've seen him in multiple systems now. I think there's value in players playing different systems, right? Just having the knowledge, they're more versatile. And that's another thing. He's very versatile. So for AVT, I think because you can probably get him cheap now due to the injuries, I'm a little more willing to give him a 3 for 24 or something,
Yeah. No, it's a good point, because Simpson's more risk reward on, hey, 1 year of good play, where with ABT the risk reward thing, or the risk versus signing this year is more of the injury thing. But you made a good point about the fact of different systems, and the being this year or next year, it's also the risk of, hey, like you said, they play good for another year, they're building their resume, they get even more money, so there's multiple like angles to look at exactly how it could be safer to do it now, or you could even argue it'd be safer to do it then, because you have more of a sample size of either health or good play, but then you're paying more money. So it's loaded, and obviously they it's a thing that we really can't get into their minds. And like I said, there's a lot of stuff that happens on behind the scenes, so it's even hard to comment on their evaluations or their, you know, how they talk to players or injuries or whatever it may be. But like, what do their books look like? Like we can go on Spot Track and all this shit, and like we can look at what we think it's going to be and all that stuff. But like they have professionals breaking down that stuff in house, so they really know how they're going to manipulate stuff in the future. So if they can figure it out, great. If not, then it is what it is. But that's like something where like, do we really know what they're thinking in terms of contracts coming forward? And okay, well, Sauce, we're going to extend both these guys. Sauce, we're going to pay in year 4, where Garrett Wilson, really most of his cap is going to come in year 3. Like there's so many things that we just don't know with all that stuff. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with the guards.